We'll choose you right back with a Broodmother, BSJ, and it's a great Broodmother game.
To be fair, that Meeple was an 8th pick, while this Broodmother is an absolute last pick. And last time we saw this, the Beastmaster did okay for the first few levels, if they put it against it. And then, like Blitz said about the Storm, it proceeded to get owned. So I think whoever goes mid is going to get that treatment, as looks like the viewers, despite Team Spirit winning against the Spear lineup of Team Secret in Game 2, people have not really changed who they believe will win this third game. And I am in agreement with the panel.
Yeah.
Matama Man is a Broodmother specialist. Let's just leave it at that. These are the type of heroes he knows and loves, and I love watching him play these types of heroes as well. So nobody really likes to watch Brood.
Why do you like Broodmother? Like Matama Man playing Broodmother specifically.
Okay. So here's an example of what I remember watching with Matama Man on a stream one time. He was playing Venomancer, and he was mid, and he had he placed all of the wards like right next to each other in the lane. Where I've never seen this before. Right next to each other, and he was microing them with his hero to deny and kill creeps at the same time.
Yeah.
So he effectively hit creeps for like 200 damage with 8 different wards. So like that's just an example of one of the many things I've seen him do on these types of heroes that are just super unique, super creative, and I'm like, wow. What is the other guy supposed to do about that? And I think that's the key to really playing heroes like Brood. And I haven't seen his Brood in a long time, but I just remember watching it and I'm like, he always does a little thing. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for as I watch in this game, is like, what little things does Matama Man do to really push the limits of this hero? As he is going to be mid, just to confirm. Has the Blightstone, the Quelling Blade, as we get a nice little elevator music to join the game. And I don't know. I really don't know what Team Spirit's electing to do. They do have the Grimstroke.
Yeah.
So if Matama Man slips up and the Grimstroke, Stroke of Fate, catches like 20 of the spiders and then him, he could just die.
Sure.
I have seen that before, but something tells me he's not going to let that happen. But even players of this caliber do make mistakes, as we've seen so far this series, especially in Game 2.
It feels to me like, going back to your description of Matama Man, it feels like these kind of heroes reward, even though they're toxic for sure, they definitely reward a certain level of intimacy and creativity with the hero.
Absolutely. No, I have a lot of respect for Broodmother players. I don't think they get as much credit as they deserve. I think, like, when you're in pubs, you do kind of have to 10th pick this hero to practice it, because guess what? When you're in competitive, that's when you're going to see it. As we do have a rune engagement, and looks like both teams just going to do a little poking and prodding, but you can't just pick the perfect hero for the game. I've grown a lot more humble about this, where you're just like, God, these guys are cheesing us. How annoying. The person has to be able to play that hero to its optimal potential to make use of it. And Broodmother, she's so unique that if you haven't played probably at least 200 games of her, you're just not going to be able to do that. So I personally respect it a lot, and I think people kind of just get fed up with losing to it rather than focusing on how difficult it really is to pull off.
Well, Ergon, we'll see how he's able to manage these murky waters of the mid lane up against a Broodmother. Initially, it'll be fine for him, but as you said, eventually this is going to turn pretty bad. Nice toss back from Yapzor on the Tiny, the support Tiny that we haven't seen in some time, and it is going to make a pretty effective move here. Killing Afterlife pretty easily as Nisha.
Wait, what?
Oh, no!
Quelling Blade. Oh, he doesn't have a Quelling Blade? Oh, he doesn't have one.
Is he going to be able to stop him? Not really, unless they can get another toss-up. Yeah, going to go for it. Nisha, he'll get a couple swings in, and Afterlife will indeed tie.
Took him a little longer than expected, but I think Nisha could have tried to use a tango there. But that would be a very small thing to do. As Zai is forced to drag the creep wave top because of the fact that he is all alone here. And he does manage to get the range creep with it, though, which is really nice. Something you can do as an off-laner if you're planning to drag creeps. Look at this casual little wind laze Zai's got. Very effective, because all creeps have 325 movement speed. So notice how, because he has that wind lace, he moves faster than creeps, which makes you take a lot less damage from them as they are chasing you around.
Same goes with the opposing support, right?
Absolutely. If you expect the guy to drag, you can just buy yourself some boots. And in this case, though, he has gone for the Basilius on the Grimstroke. I have honestly been skeptical of this whenever your carry cannot make use of the mana. In this specific case, it is the Slark, because you can just buy a Sage's Mask for that 1 mana regen instead of going all in for that extra 150 gold for that 0.4 extra. If your carry's not making use of it, I personally, well, I'm like, couldn't that be other items maybe? But I'd have to ask one of these players exactly what's going through their head, because usually these decisions come from games upon games of these heroes where they come to this optimal conclusion of, yes, it's best to play this hero with a Basilius in the lane. But he does get a Windlace of his own on immersion, so he's going to try to be keeping up with Zai, just poking him down as much as he can. Free farm for Slark. Storm's getting off to a good start. And Slark is pretty good against Brood when his game's good. Not in lane, obviously, but the leash is a really nice way of bringing the Brood down. So definitely gonna be... This is so annoying for me.
He's done it twice now. He keeps on tossing it into the ancient camp, so
it effectively adds like 75 damage to the toss, right?
Yeah, for sure. Now Misha is going to have a long ensnare here, probably enough to get him killed.
Could have given it to Matama Man if they were super good support players. His spiders were right there.
Sadly, they're only just good support players.
Or mediocre. Mediocre. That's fine. As Nisha also getting good farm for himself bottom, and the main victims this game are most certainly the offlaners, as we see Zai only 6 CS, and Beastmaster has 3.
It's funny how we get that run around. Yeah. You know, like, oh, it was our first game, right? The
both offlaners,
both offlaners really farmed.
That's the key of being a competitive player compared to being a pub player. A lot of pub players, they don't know how to win or play Dota when they get a bad start. And in competitive, only 1 to 2 cores can actually get a good start, as you can't win every single lane. And so sometimes it's going to be you with the great start, so you have to be able to carry the game and take over the momentum as an offlaner. And sometimes you're going to be scrapping for bits.
What I'm hearing out of that BSJ is I am halfway there to being a good competitive player.
Yes, because you can manage to soak XP in the trees.
Yes,
better than anyone I've ever seen.
I'm great with a game that I have no game.
Yeah.
If I'm given farm, then God help us all.
Story. Yeah, it's like in competitive, it's so targetable. If you know a player can't carry the game, you just let that. Like in these tier 3 teams, that's where that is usually the problem. You just let them have a good game. And you just don't, and you know, like, hey, if we shut down their one playmaker, their one game-winning player, we will just win the game. And that's something where if you only have one, it's quite easy to do. It's kind of like double teaming LeBron, you know? You just got to have 5 LeBrons, and then you're good to go.
Fortunately, Team Spirit doesn't have that problem, because Duraccio and Uragon have both proved that they can carry games for Spirit.
As Matama Man is losing in, or was losing in CS, excuse me, but now he is winning in the level battle, ahead by a whole half a level. Even though they're equal in CS, he's been clearing much more jungle creeps and being in range of the creeps in lane while they're dying, at the very least. So both mid laners, though, are having the start that they want, but both off laners, I'd much rather have a Pango with no farm than a Beastmaster with no farm.
True.
And that's why I've been a huge advocate advocate against Beastmaster as a hero in games like this, where he can just get counterpicked by a hero like Monkey King. Beastmaster is the definition for me of a feast or famine offlaner. If he has a good game, he takes over the entire map. If he has a bad game, he feels like a creep with some other creeps that he summons. Kind of like a Chen, but from the core role. And we'll just have to see if he looks to maybe recover with a gank on the Broodmother. I think that's going to be a huge part of this game, of whether or not Beastmaster can recover. And Aragon,
they're going to try. Aragon. All those spiders get cleared out.
What?
Oh, Aragon, come on,
He had a haste rune that whole time.
He could have zipped. He
could have zooped.
Ran away.
He could have zapped.
Zooped and zopped and all kinds of things, but he didn't do any of it.
Okay.
Spiders.
The spiders do amp up that damage, though, from that Grimstroke Q. I'm glad you mentioned that earlier. Really helpful for the people watching. He's actually going a hood on Matama Man. I love that, by the way.
Yeah.
They only have magical damage for him mid-game, and it's going to be magical damage that he can't dodge, as we see Zai attempt to dodge this kill from Duraccio. And Duraccio will make him go Caplaccio.
You're not going to stop with that one, are you? Can we ban Brian from casting any more
I've only
spirit
got a
games?
limited amount of material here. Every team I got to come up with one. We got 19 teen, we got Caplaccios.
I'm just sitting here like, man, Team Spirit, they're a fun team to watch. I hope they do well. And then I'm casting with you, and I'm just like, man, I hope Spirit just flops out of the group stage. I hope they don't make the playoffs. Good Lord. I don't want to hear Brian say any more casting about them.
Or more so, you just want Caplaccio to get any kills, I think is what you're saying here. As Immersion,
yeah, he's dead.
He will immerse himself into the ground, Cap.
Yeah, he will fade away. And Matumba Man will take that tower, very likely, because there's no one there to stop him.
I really like this hood.
Yeah.
Because as I was talking about, there's really no positioning you can do to avoid like the Storm Spirit plus like the Beastmaster follow-up and all that kind of stuff. So he's just going to tank through it. That's his goal. And when you're this type of hero as Brood, you become like a pinata, even though in this patch, because kill scores or kill bounties are much more about how many kills you have, it's still a big deal if he loses momentum on the map by feeding away one or two crucial deaths. So now that he's got that survivability at him, he's also going to give it to a spider, so he's going for the full pipe. I was wondering if he's going to do that. That to me is even more fascinating because he's prioritizing his spiders with his hero.
Immersion, he's always around that Broodmother looking for the easy kills of Stroke of Fate, but he also has to beware of being hunted down immediately. Zai puts himself on the high ground, but so does Duraccio. Hey, buddy.
And Zai goes to
bye-bye?
Yeah, bye-bye.
Zai goes bye-bye.
That's pretty good too, actually.
5-2, 3K net worth lead.
I was just trying to bait you, but I didn't even think of a word I was going to go with there. And it looks like another tower, potentially for Secret here, as Matumba Man could connect. The reason why they're not able to defend this is, first off, Beastmaster has a really bad start, but also because Matumba Man does have webs around that area, so if they brought enough heroes, they'd either like potentially lose their mid tower, or they'd have another whole Broodmother level 10, 9 minutes in to deal with.
I love that Puppy is putting so much pressure on Afterlife Spores.
Yeah.
Like, he protects his creep wave from being pulled back. They successfully take the tower because he just kept on killing the boars over and over again.
In my limited experience playing as Beastmaster, he is the boar. Like, if you kill the boar, you kill the hero effectively in lane. Like, that hero's laning potential is completely neutered by that as he attempts to scout out if Monkey King is potentially in the trees, but he has hopped out.
Can Duraccio carry this game solo? I mean, it's looking like it might turn into that. Him and
Slark's
Urgon,
a tough
the
one,
only ones
man.
who are farmed.
It's just a pace of the game thing. I think he's going to get this defusal super early. He's already about a, what is that, 1,700, 1,400 gold off?
Zai pulled back in, the remnants, just one swashbuckle. But even if Urgon didn't kill him, Duraccio would have. And it's going to be bounty runes on the left-hand side of the map, both taken by Team Spirit. And Zai.
This is the life of an offlaner, Cap.
That's very nice of them. They gave him the tome.
I feel like you could play this game, Cap.
I really could.
Whenever I play with you in pubs, this is usually what your KDD looks like.
Yeah, and then I tell my supports, I need tome. I'm tilted.
And then they don't give it to you. I've actually experienced that myself.
It's okay. It's all forgiven eventually once your mid lane is one hard enough and you can go sit there as an offlaner.
No, usually my mid laner is the Storm in this case. Where I'm the Beastmaster. I can really relate to this game on a philosophical level, Cap.
Feels like they kind of need to group up and do something now. I mean, they've got some of their ultimates, right?
They need the defusal from Slark, I think.
Yeah? Okay.
They either all in this Brood, but they might be too far behind to make it so it's not obvious. And he's also got a pipe, so... I don't know if he's actually burstable. I wonder if he takes the health talent, or if he takes the spawn spiderlings damage. The health goes up in value just because you have this pipe. But he is already hitting this tier 2. And looks like Team Spirit's content to trade a tier 1 top as opposed to contesting these pushes. But positive is Secret supports are severely underleveled. Yapster is only level 4 minutes in. Puppy's actually almost level 6 somehow in comparison. But Nisha going for the Glove of Haste into Radiance. We're seeing this more and more often. I'm going to have to try this out myself. Even on Monkey King, he obviously has the Echo Saber as well, but just a casual Glove of Haste into the Radiance. The Glove of Haste super value, 400 gold for 20 attack speed, as he's potentially setting up on Urgon.
He's going to be confident.
Yeah, you took my line there.
Into Yapsor, the toss-up.
You're gone. Okay, well, I was going to say that and you just ruined it, so I said it. It sounded even worse when I said it out loud, Cap. And,
under attack.
I'm just a bit disappointed in you and myself at the same time. Cues up the Ags on Matumba Man.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Zai's having a good time in that his job is now to sit around and watch people take towers. I'm not even sure if this would have ever done anything, ever.
You miss every roll, you don't roll. Cap. He has a drum on Matumba Man. I didn't even notice that. Full drums. So all about the spiders this game. As once he gets that level 20 talent especially, the 30 spider attack damage.
Yeah.
It is a scary timing. As I have many a time played with Monkeys Forever who says, I am strong, when he has that level 20 talent. So I'm very aware that that is a strong point for no other reason than that. Shout out to 10th picking Brood and NA Pups. Thank you, Monkeys Forever. And
over.
Mid. Might see a kill on Brood. Okay, never mind. They actually just can't do anything to this guy.
And Misha's very dead.
They just like 3-man ganked the Brood and he just activated pipe and took no damage.
Duraccio is going to be forced to use the Shadow Dance here, but they still have a couple of Primal Springs to catch him. Get in front of him.
No.
He's got to pounce up.
Oh, you can't afford
They're trying to stay in front of him.
block.
Nice use of the phase boots. Does block the pounce, but Duraccio still manages to get into the trees. Heals up a little bit more. They spot him again. Toss over from Yapzor.
That's a disaster.
And Matumba Man's able to soak up all that attention like you were talking about. They can't kill him. They can't gank him.
They just went on him with 3 heroes. He took no damage to start, and they're like, oh, and just gave up.
All they can do for now is split push and maybe wait for high ground. It's beginning to feel like it's that kind of game. It's similar to game 1. Perhaps Secret are just winning so hard that you're going to have to fall back on Plan C.
What's Plan C,
Plan
Cap?
A and B didn't go so well.
Lay it out for us. What's the comeback
Plan
potential?
C stands for close the gates. Just, you know, you just sit on the high ground and wait for the enemy siege.
And what happens then, you know?
Well, you hope that they screw up.
I see. So you hope they just like try to climb your city walls without the proper climbing gear and just fall off?
Yes, without proper safety equipment.
Okay, noted. As the map is looking pretty small for Team Spirit here, as Zai just causing a little bit of havoc in the mid lane. They are getting a tower bottom.
Diffuse a blade, fire blast, a toss back from Duraccio means he won't get on top of Yapzor. Not that he could have done anything anyway. All of Secret are here. Now, all of Secret being mid means they do take the bottom tower.
Yeah, all things considered, not too bad for Team Spirit. But is that enough? Because now look at the map for them. They are secluded to this nice little small area, the triangle. And that's about where you have to draw the line. I think that's effectively your fort right now. Because if you give up this area, there's nothing left other than your base. And as far as I know, Cap, there are not creeps in your base. So I don't know what you're supposed to farm. And I want to give a shout out to Duraccio for being the first professional Slark I have seen that has sentries in his inventory. And he gets spotted by a ward. And oh, it's a spider. Okay, Matumba Man just baited out a sentry with a spider on the high ground. I'm actually going to give that my own clap because that's pretty freaking cool. As they do smoke up. Looks like they're just roshing.
Spiders are going to push out.
Vlad's on Pango with a disarm. This could be a big clash. They have the Beastmaster Hawk.
They're going to pop forward, but the Wukong's command is going to go out. He throws out his stun. They're only going to land onto Afterlife. Afterlife does manage to throw out his own stun onto Matumba Man. They have the Inkswell, but this Rolling Thunder is causing some havoc there to the back line. Meanwhile, the Slark just keeps on pushing forward with the help of Ergon. They should be able to bring down Puppy, but they're going to lose so many heroes for this, potentially, as Misha's going to be chased down. He is certainly dead. Okay, 5-position trade-off with Duraccio getting a bunch of stats. That sounds okay.
In the meantime, though, Nisha, he's just going Radiance, so he's not exactly all-inning for this momentum in the mid-game. He realizes that Matumba Man is all about the auras, all about enabling his team and his own spiders, and he can just scale on this Monkey King. And Slark's pretty hard to fight into Monkey King if they're balled up. Like, in pubs, it's really nice. Like, I've seen people talk about how they think Monkey King's annoying to play into Slark. But in competitive Dota, when you're inside of that Monkey King ring, you can't really hit anybody unless you're ulted, and it's really annoying. And you can also be stunned through your ult, so you can't, like, ult TP. It's not the funnest matchup, honestly. And once he gets that Radiance, that mischance, even more so. Doesn't have roll. Oh, he did have roll on Zai. Huh. It's a lower channel time than your TP, so maybe he could have narrowly gotten it, but also if he does use it, it could have been costly. Potentially Team Spirit could have utilized that opening.
Yeah, especially since there's still Roshan to be done, and I'm sure Team Spirit feel like this is where the game is potentially recoverable. A good Roshan fight, that's what they need.
Dire's top tower is under
Will they get it, though? As last time we saw this, it was just a bunch of posturing from both sides. As Dyrachyo does deward a sentry. You know there's no ward there, dude. They don't see you. Okay, well, he bought the sentry. That's the first step. As Zai...
He's going to be tossed up with the Dark Pact.
Oh, no.
The chain stun. The Rolling Thunder comes
him.
back. It's going to hit him one more time with the Essence Ring. He actually does manage to pounce up to the high ground with the Shadow Dance. He's going to regen a good amount. But Nisha keeps on going. And now the Swashbuckle landing on all these heroes. They really want Dyrachyo so badly. Another pounce. But the Spiders, they're keeping up. They're trying to keep track of him. Nope, they're going to turn back. They're going to finish off what they started in the Grimstroke. Now the Urgon Storm Spirit's going to be forced to zip away. Once again, Team Spirit lose very few heroes for it, but they do lose.
It just doesn't seem like Secret has to invest very much to do that. Yeah, it costs them like Rolling Thunder, sometimes Monkey King ult like last time, but they still can fight. And I don't really know at what point you can fight into the Secret lineup. There's no real vulnerabilities in that sense. There's no ult cooldowns, there's no item timings. Like, even if they don't have this Radiance yet, Nisha still feels quite impactful. And he's going to try to finish that off. They do get the ward from Misha, so he scouts this out. Yaps are actually just
double
instantly wards on it.
With the pounce on his eye, but he's
a
been
ult
too
for
scared.
10.
There's so many heroes coming.
They know
He's
this.
got another Dark Pact. Pounce up in 2 seconds, but it's no chance for Dyrachyo.
As he goes...
Maybe another air down immersion. Trying to get away with the ink swell.
Oh, nice micro to the Spiders.
He waits it out, dodges the stroke of fate.
As Matamaman says, stroke this.
Stroke what, Brian?
This. As he looks to push mid with his pipe plus drums and the full ags, so he is super speedy, and the Spiders themselves are also very speedy. Radiance on the Monkey. It does go to all your Monkey King clones, and they are considered hero copies, so it gives you the full 60 damage. It's not like illusions. As trying to take the bottom outpost is the dead Beastmaster. Afterlife. We'll see you in the afterlife, buddy. Sorry.
So close.
That's the light at the end of the tunnel, and suddenly somebody puts a blindfold on you, Cap, and then runs over you with a train. Almost quite literally, because he did run him over with a...
He really did.
Rolling Thunder. And
the Aghanim Scepter of Matamaman, he has webs everywhere. There's no safe spot on the map for Team Spirit. They've run into Matamaman, and they're going to try and jump in. They actually found the Oracle. Maybe they can kill him. That's an easier one for sure. But Puppy, he does have a Ghost Scepter, making it much harder for Urgon. Urgon running low on mana has actually been hit by the ensnare. He's going to be able to jump one last jump away. He's going to be good for now. But Dyrachyo, he got off the Shadow Dance in time, but he just can't kill one. Indeed, they're all too tanky. They all have enough mana. And once again, they'll just get a support, but it's still Team Secret, seeming unkillable, always able to win a team fight.
What now?
Home in trouble. Immersion, he's dead, immediately buys back. Tier 3 is about to fall here. And they still have an Oracle ulti to go. Team Secret. I'm not even sure how you get to a point where you can force the false promise out in the first place. They just have so little damage. Nice toss back from Yaps, or long zip in for the Rolling Thunder. And actually hit the Storm Spirit. Beautiful positioning by Zai, and the Soulbind makes it worse as he stays on top of the Storm Spirit to stun him one more time. With those two dead, melee, barracks, and range are both going to fall here, and other lanes to fall. Seems imminent at this point. That toss back onto Duraccio. He does manage to get off the Dark Pact Essence ring, but it's not enough survivability for him. He's going to buy back almost immediately.
I really just want to give a shout out to this pipe. I think atomization always says so much about your understanding of the game, and Slark and Storm are both heroes that did have issues with damage in team fights, as we see Duraccio forced to use his ultimate defensively again, and even if he hits people, so what? As he goes down, probably going to call GG if he does, which he does.
He does indeed, and so does Immersion.
They just can't kill anyone, and that's why I wanted to highlight the pipe, is they really just can't kill anyone because of it. Like, it's already difficult enough as is if he didn't have the pipe, but now it's absolutely impossible. It's not only his hero and his spiders, but it's also his Oracle. Try to go on this Oracle with a pipe, you know? It's like,
yeah,
it just doesn't work anymore. And I think this is why Storm Spirit, I believe Blitz said, is 1 in 11 in the EU region. It's just too easy to ball down a lane at this point in the game, and eventually the Storm Spirit just can't kill anyone. This is obviously a much earlier than it usually happens. And we also did have a brief glimpse of the 420, so shout out to that. Didn't last very long though.
It never does, Brian. It never does.
Yeah. Before you know it, it's over, Cap.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think he just planted an ironwood tree to get his tree throw ready to go.
Oh, he actually dropped the Philosopher's Stone, picked up a tree, and then put the tree back. That's pretty nice. All right, that's it. He said with the tree. And something told me after that second game where Secret decided they were not actually Team Spirit that the game might look something like this. And it definitely looked